I've been playing my brand new Nintendo Switch 2 as well as Mario Kart World for the last several days straight. And boy, do I have some thoughts. After the last 12 years, Nintendo fans have been fiending for a new Mario Kart since the launch of Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U back in 2014. And while Nintendo has given Mario Kart fans a little chunk of content every once in a while, like with the deluxe version on the Switch and eventually doubling the game's track selection at a questionable quality, they never gave us a brand new, fresh feeling game. But finally, we got them, Mario Kart World on the Nintendo Switch 2. A new Mario Kart built from the ground up to show off the new Switch 2's power and Nintendo's ability to absolutely cook. However, there's a lot to love about this game, sure, but there's also seemingly a lot of problems with it from the community. Like how it might feel boring or, worst of all, whether it's even worth the $80 price tag. And well, I'll answer those questions in this video. But before we even get started into the game, we must enable the man, the GOAT, Parabiddy Bud. Here we go! I love him. Look at him. And actually, this character selection screen is where I'm gonna start, because holy moly, we finally have a vast and healthy amount of characters to choose from. And a large portion of them aren't even Koopalings. Who could have seen this coming? This really shouldn't be the first time we were able to play as Goomba in a cart. Why has this been absent for my entire life? First, we gotta talk about this game's major difference, the open world. This lets the game break out from the classic format of Mario Kart games where you just select a track or a group of tracks and go. It completely changes the structure of the game. For example, Grand Prix events aren't your classic 4 tracks with 3 laps each. Instead, it's just you driving across the map to different tracks. No one lap is the same, and that makes a huge difference when it comes to replayability and the overall scale of the game. But before we dive too deep into that, let's talk about the mode that makes the most out of this open world map, free roam mode. Like I mentioned, every single track is crammed into this massive map, and in free roam mode, you're able to go anywhere. Drive through grass, practice tracks, launch yourself off the tallest of heights just for fun, as I did several times. It's just fun to explore the map and drive around. It's kind of calming in a way. Coming from Mario Kart 8, where every track is super linear and you couldn't really break free from the course, having a fully playable, fully functioning free roaming world where you can just trick off stuff and mess around is so refreshing. It's easily one of my favorite parts of the game just to do and play. Just from the menu screen, you can press the plus button and boom, I'm driving. So while I'm waiting for my chicken to be done in the microwave, I can just be absolutely blasting with Mario. Or of course, Parabiddy Bud, the GOAT. Seriously, I spent hours and hours just driving around, playing as, Parabiddy Bud and the wide range of wacky characters, testing things out, tricking off random ledges just because I can. Now, there's more to free roam mode than just being a silly goofball. There are 3 main things that you can do. First off, you can collect Peach medallions. These are little collectibles scattered around the world, and you might be asking, what do they do? Well, not much. You get a sticker for your online driver's license thing, which is fine. I like collectibles. In fact, I even like stickers. What else can you do? Well, you can also hit these question block pads, which are also scattered around the map. What do they do? Oh, they give you more stickers. Okay, sure. Technically, another collectible. I'll take it. But the final thing you can do in free roam mode is P-switches. And this is where things actually start to get a little more interesting. These P-switches trigger a little mini game, and there's a ton of them around the map. The challenges vary in difficulty. Some are simple as collecting a few coins in a tiny little line, and others are wild, like grinding rails, wall climbing, and bouncing off enemies with perfect timing. They're just little challenges you can do while exploring, and most of the time you'll get them within the first few tries. But I really like how they test your skills and help you get better mobility and a better feel for the game, especially early on. I truly think these P-switches are the reason I can grind rails like a complete legend. Now, you might be asking, what do you get from these P-switches? Unlockable characters? New carts maybe? Well, it's simple. Stickers. You get more stickers. Yippee! And, well, to be honest, that's all of free roam mode. The entire thing. You can practice, freely drive to your heart's content, and get stickers. That's it. And after a few days of playing the game, yeah, I still find it fun to drive around and finish some P-switches, but there's definitely a few things lacking that could have been so simple to fix. One big gripe I had with the P-switches in particular is the fact that whenever I restarted one, I had to re-click the button and sit through the cutscene that shows the challenge. Not a huge deal in the grand scope of things, but it's still kind of annoying. Now, I've heard a ton of people talk about how they're disappointed with this mode. Some say it's boring, some say Nintendo didn't add enough, and honestly, these are valid complaints. I think a lot of fans expected this to be like the mission mode from Mario Kart DS with bosses or some kind of story, but none of that is here, and it stands out because this is one additional game mode that really sets this apart from other Mario Karts, and you'd think they would have added more. Personally, when I first booted this up, after my first hour, I thought it was the best mode yet, but after exploring the map and playing other modes, this one kind of faded to the background for me. It's still fun and all, but I think a lot of people are hung up on the fact that they wanted a story story mode of some kind. And yes, that would have been amazing and would have made this exceptionally better. But at the end of the day, this is just free roam mode. That's all. It doesn't say story mode, it's just free roam mode, and that's all it's supposed to be. So while the open world map is great for free roam, it also completely changes how the main two modes function compared to the traditional Mario Kart games. First, let's talk about Grand Prix. As I mentioned earlier, the cups are now just routes across the map. That's how they're structured, and that's fantastic. As I said, it makes the replayability skyrocket. It's not just the same course with 3 laps, it's 3 different tracks in one, if that makes sense. But aside from the format of the tracks in Grand Prix though, there's nothing major that makes this mode really stand out. I still played it a ton and finished all the cups, and yes, you do get a secret one if you beat them all. But aside from the way it plays, the idea of Grand Prix is still the exact same. You go for 3 stars, you can get a gold trophy, and that's about it. But let's actually move on to the new Fortnite mode, as I like to call it. It's actually called Knockout Tour. I call it Fortnite because of the way it works. It's kind of similar to Battle Royale, I guess. Or maybe I'm just Fortnite brained, I don't know. In this mode, there are different rallies, and those rallies connect a bunch of levels together just like Grand Prix. Except this time, it's different. Because trust me, bro, it's a similar premise. You drive around the map. It's like one long race. It doesn't stop and go to different menus, you don't get points, you just go. Knockout Tour is an absolute nail biter. It's so much more intense than any other mode. You're still fighting for first place like normal, but this time, as the race continues, people start getting eliminated. It's just a ton of fun. And it's one mode that thrives in online single player. As soon as you're out, boom, you're out. You try again. It's literally like Battle Royale in a way, just with racing. It's such a simple concept. Instead of you just playing a regular race where you're just trying to get first place, there's like a suspense feeling or another objective. You just can't be last place. So even though you might not be first place, you're at least fighting for something else, like not getting knocked out. It's really fun. I give it 5 stars, and probably is the best mode. I just wish there was more. Now, of course, those aren't the only modes. You've got some of the classics back as well, like Time Trial. This is mostly for the folks who want to see how fast they can tear through a track and if they can beat their previous times. I played a few Time Trial races, and it's actually quite fun trying to beat your old score, especially with how massive these new levels are. There are always new paths you can try out to shave a few seconds off your time, and on top of that, you can compete against other players online to try and set a world record if you're feeling bold. Now, battle mode on the other hand makes me incredibly sad. This includes balloon battle, which I mean is balloon battle, and then the coin collecting game. Get the most coins and you win. I've never really been much of a battle mode fan in the first place. It's never really been for me. I think it's fine, but I definitely never pick it over standard racing. Battle mode does use the open world, but only in certain sections of the map. They do add stuff to it for battles like, you know, dinosaurs in the dinosaurs stage, but overall it's pretty simple. I think there was so much more potential with this one. Like, can you imagine 100 players across the map and there's like a storm thing slowly closing in, and instead of random items they add new abilities to your car or something? Once again, I'm Fortnite brained, I think. It's just very mid. I don't really know how else to explain it. It's the classic battle mode, but nothing crazy, unfortunately. And we can't forget about online play, which is awesome, but you can also play basic races, knockout tour, battle mode, and my favorite, just do custom matches with up to 24 friends, which I actually did during C.com and Royal Pair's Mario Kart World tournament, and this worked very well. I'm actually very impressed with how seamless this was. They also did videos on those, so if you want to check it out. Just saying, I got 4th place out of 24 people. I'm a pretty happy guy about that. I don't make the rules, but I do play like a beast. So, we've gone over all the modes in this game so far, but we also need to talk about the rest of the game in general, because there's a lot Nintendo did to make this feel like the next generational leap for Mario Kart. Like, the gameplay as a whole. Yes, you still have classic drift and boost mechanics that everyone knows about, but they also added boost jumps. If you're driving in a straight line and hold the drift button, you can actually jump. The longer you hold it down, the more boost you get. And if you're holding it down and you decide to move the analog stick as well, you can jump sideways and even onto a wall, which brings me to the next mechanic, wall riding. This was honestly pretty difficult to get the hang of at first, and still kind of is, but man, jumping from a wall onto the rails, onto someone, it's crazy. They added a ton of mechanics like this that just feel great. Not to mention, infinite tricks in the air. As long as you're airborne, you can just keep going. And it makes you look like an absolute baller when you land. The gameplay is just so good. I just can't believe this. However, I do kind of have a complaint with some of these new mechanics, and it could be because I'm bad, which, let's be honest, is a possibility. But like, are some of these mechanics even doing anything to my speed? Let me give you an example. When I was doing some time trial runs, I did one where I didn't do any fancy tricks. I just played normally. No rails, no wall stuff, nothing crazy fancy. Then on my next turn, I went off. I did every trick I could. Wall riding, boost jumping, rail grinding, the whole shebang. It was wild. I couldn't be stopped. But when I finished the race, the the time difference was barely noticeable. Obviously, there was a lot of factors here, but even in a standard race, sometimes I feel like I'm practically giving up my place in the race because I went for a Mario Kart trick shot that didn't even help me. That's not even to mention how many times I think something's gonna work and then it just doesn't, for no reason. Like, it's kind of weird. I'll be grinding on a rail, try to jump to another one, and the game just doesn't register it. So I fly off the map or get stuck somewhere awkward. Now, I know that as I play more, I'll get better, and I am becoming wiser the more I play. But even after playing for a long time and hitting the same tracks multiple times, I gotta say, some of this still feels random, and it makes me question whether these new mechanics are even worth using the majority of the time. Maybe if I get like really into it and start learning every single shortcut, then yes, it would be worth it in some cases, but as a beginner, probably not, to be honest, especially if you're playing in a room full of beginners. But that being said, this gameplay works so well with the overall style of the game. These tracks are absolutely massive, and they're also at the same time some of the best designed courses in the series. I mean, look at this! From both a gameplay and visual perspective, Nintendo absolutely nailed it. Now that there are 24 players on the track, which is absolutely insane, these tracks need to be bigger. But also, because there are so many people, having multiple paths is a necessity, and that's exactly what's happening. There are so many paths, the tracks are bigger, it's wild. Now, it was a big concern early on when the game was first shown off that there'd be a lot of straight highways you'd be driving on, and a lot of people thought that that's what would make it boring, just driving in a straight line, and I totally get it. That sounds pretty boring. However, when I actually played this game, I did not think this at all. I get why you would think that, but I didn't find any part of almost every track to be completely boring like that. There are some very straight paths, sure, but I actually found those sections to be quite fun, and possibly even more suspenseful in some cases. You're constantly looking around for shortcuts, trying to figure out a new mechanic you can use, and of course, scrambling for items while knowing you could be taken out at any minute. It was way more suspenseful and engaging than boring by any means. And the people who say it's boring now, I think they're wrong. There are also so many twists in the tracks, and it's so chaotic. I mean, I gotta blame the items for that, like the ice flower, the golden shell, the hammer bro hammers. These items are items. That's all I can say. They added a few, but it's pretty standard. I like them. One thing I do like a little bit more about this game though, is that some of the more annoying items from previous entries, like the lightning, is toned back quite a bit. It's still here, but it's not nearly as annoying. You're not as small for long. In a match with people who are actually good at the game, you can be in last place and then one item drops and you're in first. It's insane. We also have to talk about the visuals here. This is Nintendo's showcase on how they can make graphics look on the Switch 2. And yes, this isn't some crazy graphical showcase like certain other games out there, but it's a very Nintendo-y game with some of the best graphics we've ever seen in a first-party Nintendo title. You can just tell, the lighting, the crisp 4K resolution, and the rock-solid 60 frames per second is all thanks to the new Switch 2 hardware. And with this hardware, Nintendo was finally able to make this game as big as they wanted. They didn't have to limit their ideas at all. And they even said that in a developer interview, because this game was originally supposed to be on the Switch 1, and they were scared that they were gonna have to dial it back for the Switch 1. But then when they eventually decided to bring it to the Switch 2, they spent a little more time on it, and they were able to get it to how they wanted without any compromises to the game itself, which I respect. Also, the characters. They all got redesigns and look so cute and squishy. Mario looks like he's eaten a little too much spaghetti. Donkey Kong looks more playful and less angry, which seems to be the direction that they're taking and moving forward. And I just really like how they all look more playful and colorful. They actually have expression in this game, unlike, Mario Kart 8, where they're dead inside. Like, seriously, what is that? And you can even see this new cartoony style just from the gameplay. Like when you start a drift, the character and cart just kind of squish and squash around. It's so lively. Speaking of characters, can I just say how weird it is to unlock them? I'm kind of going on a tangent here, but hear me out. When you unlock these characters, it's mostly random for the NPC characters. With most of these NPC characters, you have to become the character with Kamek, which is odd. Then with the costumes, you have to eat certain food. Like, why is this a thing? They added this whole food mechanic to unlock costumes. Then it just becomes basic food after you've unlocked them all. This definitely should have been replaced with an item box or something. I don't know. I think the P-Switch challenges or some sort of racing challenge would have been way better for unlocking characters because this just feels random to me. Anyways, that's a quick tangent. Let's keep going. This whole game's art style and environment is fantastic, but when you add all this up with the phenomenal soundtrack, which remixes a ton of classic Mario tunes from all across the Mario universe, plus throws in some new bangers, it's just fantastic. Seriously, the music in this game is some of the best music I've heard in all of gaming ever. They completely re-recorded so many Mario tunes from the past, like Coconut Mall. This sounds so good. And on top of the music, we also got updated voices now with all of the characters. That's epic. Now, I also want to talk about some of the other Switch 2 quirks of this. Well, first of all, this is a fantastic handheld experience. Being able to jump into a quick race while you're on the go, or even just laying in bed, makes this feel special. And again, like I said, just being able to jump into free roam mode from the menu, it's just a quick, fun time. And of course, the Nintendo Switch's Joy-Cons were practically built for this. If you're at a friend's house and you can't play on a TV or something, you can use split Joy-Cons for 2 people to play. And with the beautiful increased size of the Joy-Cons now, your hands won't fall off from pain. Oh, and Nintendo also allowed us to buy these. These are actually very premium and high quality. I paid for them for some reason. I don't know why. I'll never use these. Now, another Switch 2 perk that I didn't even expect would be as good as it is, well, game chat. Yeah, I clowned on this feature a ton, I know, but I gotta say, it's pretty good. In this game, not only is the voice quality surprisingly good, but if you have a camera, it actually follows the person on the map who's using it. And seeing their face on the track itself, zooming past you, is just so goofy. It kind of makes you feel like they're actually driving a cart in front of you. But I'm impressed with this feature as a whole, and I actually used it way more than I expected to. But anyways, now it's time to move on. We gotta talk about the biggest problem by far, and that's the price, more specifically, the value. This is an $80 game, and you can't talk about Mario Kart World without bringing that up. And I know a lot of people think that I defend Nintendo's pricing, but like, no. I don't. I think this is absolutely something that we should dig a little deeper into and try and understand. Why is Nintendo charging this much for a Mario Kart game? Because right now, at the time of release, the price is absurd. The game just doesn't have enough content in it to justify $80. Sure, we got some new gameplay mechanics and a massive open world, but nothing really screams that this deserves to cost more than, Tears of the Kingdom. I can't possibly say they didn't get a little greedy with this one. But let me kind of look at it from another angle that might be a little more hopeful. We heard from Doug Bowser, the Nintendo of America president, that they priced this the way they did because we'll be playing this game for a long time. So to me, I take that as, I do think there's a possibility we'll get a ton of free updates to this game. Like, a ton. I mean, every direct moving forward should include new characters, and we might even see another map in the future. That's just how I see it. I mean, Diddy Kong isn't even in the game for some reason, and they already redesigned him. I just feel like there's so much that they could include to this that it's kind of silly that they wouldn't be updating it. So maybe in 5 years, Nintendo will add enough content to make the $80 price tag feel worth it. Maybe they priced it for the future. And hey, let's not forget they released a Switch 2 bundle that brought the game down to $50, which is actually less than the old standard $60 price. So people, if you're going to buy a Switch 2 eventually, and you want to get Mario Kart World for under $80, you can go buy it now for $50. I'm not disregarding the fact that the physical version or buying it alone is $80. I'm just saying if you want to get the game and you got a Switch 2, you're getting it for $50. I don't know what else to tell you. They priced it low for early adopters like us. And yes, you could say that's a marketing scheme. I'm not justifying the price here. I'm just trying to look at it from a different perspective. I don't want this game to be a blemish on the industry, which it kind of feels like it is right now because of the price, but I hope Nintendo proves the value with ongoing support. And if they add paid DLC, I'll be angry. It also doesn't help that they showed off everything about this game before launch. Like, they revealed almost all the characters and costumes before the game even dropped. There were basically no surprises. They kind of set expectations a little too high, especially with that price tag. So, is it worth it? Well, if you get the bundle, then yeah, I like Mario Kart. Have you played the new Mario Kart yet? Let me know what you think in the comments. And hey, if you want to support the channel, consider becoming a channel member. Look at all these epic names. Consider liking and subscribing. I'll see you in the next one. See you later.